Motors are finished. All of them mounted, all of them secured, motor wires hooked up. What we're going to do now, I'm going to go ahead and get the computer and pull up the Crius, whatever it is, all-in-one newbie guide, and I'll have a link to where this is, and it gives us all the information we really need to know in order to set up our Wii board. This is the Crius ZMR multi-Wii board from Value Hobby. Again, a link will be in the packet that I give. But we'll go ahead and get multi-Wii 2.1 loaded onto this. We'll get all our speed controls hooked up, and then we'll go ahead and run up the motors and get the speed controls calibrated. We'll get the radio set up for the board, and get all the motor rotations correct, and get to the point where we could actually fly, but then we'll go ahead and balance our motors. So let me get the computer. I want to go ahead and show you some of the items we're going to use, specifically the multi-Wii board. We're going to go to Value Hobby. This is where we're going to get the Crius or Sirius, however you want to pronounce it, all-in-one multi-Wii SC board. So we're just going to go to Helly's. It's multi-rotor now, and then control boards or multi-copter. However you get there, the website changes day by day. Scroll down, and this is the board that I use. It's like $48. It's the SC, so it has the magnometer and barometer and the level dimensions if you need it, if you're building before you get the board. And then we're also going to pick up the FTDI programmer. This is what allows us to upload the new firmware onto the multi-Wii board. $6 comes with a USB cord. That's pretty cool. Most of them don't. I think it's SparkFun. I paid like $15 for a similar item, and it burned up on me within 2 days. It was great. Okay, so for the FTDI, we need drivers. So we're going to go to a website that has drivers for the FTDI board. I will have a link in the description, or actually a link in the packet, so that you can go and download these yourself. I'm randomly highlighting the URL so that you can see where I'm at. Then we want to scroll down and get the FTDI drivers for Windows. Click on it, download it, and you're going to extract it to someplace convenient, because you will need to direct Windows to that folder when you plug in the FTDI for the first time. I extract everything to the desktop for ease and then move it later. Really slow at figuring out what I want to do here. But anyway, extracting it, blah blah blah, so forth, so on, so on. Alright, we're going to close this out. We want to go to the RC, or actually we want to go to the Arduino website, and we want to get Arduino. I think you can use any Arduino now. I get 1.0 because multi-Wii 2.0 required you to use 1.0 software, but I believe 2.1 doesn't matter. You can use the newest 1.01. So I'll check on that and make sure, but just to be safe, I know that 1.0 does work for sure. So download it, extract it, and we'll use that later. Now let's go to the main multi-Wii thread on RC groups. Alex Paris has done a great job in creating the multi-Wii software. Others have started working with him, and it's become a really nice software for quite a few popular boards. Scroll down and you will see a link that actually hosts the firmware. And currently 2.0 was the newest when this was made, but 2.1 is out now, so please pick 2.1 release. Download it, of course, extract it to someplace convenient. Last thread is the Creus all-in-one board thread on RC Groups. Inside this thread is a PDF file that somebody was gracious enough to complete, which is all the information that a newbie would need to set up a Creus all-in-one board. And you can use this from step 1 of downloading the software all the way to flying the board. It has everything you need. This is what I used when I set up my first multi-Wii board. And I didn't even have the Creus, but it has enough information inside of it to help you set it up without searching through tons and tons and tons of threads of how to set up multi-Wii software. This was very handy. Multi-Wii 2.1 has been released, so I went ahead and downloaded it from the same spot that I had showed you previously in the videos. I extracted it to the desktop, and it comes with a new Multi-Wii 2.1 and a new Multi-Wii config tool. So first thing that I want to do is open up Arduino, and we need to take a look at the code changes and set it up for what we're going to do. So I'm going to fire Arduino up. And then I'm going to open the Multi-Wii 2.1. I have it on my desktop. We have to open the Multi-Wii 2.1.ino file. This is the entire code, and it includes everything that we need. All the different items that we need are actually separated into their own config.h files, I believe is what they're called. But we need to only concern ourselves with the config.h. These are the actual configurable parameters, and they've done a really nice job of actually notating what everything actually does. Some things that we're going to notice is right here on number 1, basic setup. They don't have anything defined for us. Normally on the previous ones, quad X was defined by default. It's not anymore, so we're going to go ahead and uncomment the define quad X because that's what we're using. Minimum throttle is 1150. That's fine for me. It's what I use normally. You can set it to whatever you need. They have some other presets up here like 1300 for the Turnigy plushes. We're using the F20As. 1150 is fine for those. The max throttle, I always set mine to 2000. Minimum command of 1000 is fine for me. I2 speed, I don't worry about this because it's really only for using the Wii Motion Plus, but I'm not. The internal I2C pull-ups, these are normally these are normally enabled by default. They're now not enabled. I'm going to leave it disabled. We're using the Sirius multi-Wii board. I'm going to try it disabled to start, and then if it doesn't work, I'm going to come back and enable them. The combined IMU boards, so this is kind of where we're going to tell Multi-Wii 2.1 what we're using, and we're going to look down here for the Sirius SE. And I'm going to uncomment it because that's what we're using. These are we only have to worry about this if we're using the specific independent sensors. We're using an all-in-one board that's already been defined for us, so we can ignore all that. This is for try that we don't have to worry about right now. The arm disarm, I'm glad this is included. I hate that you can disarm the quad using the roll, because whenever I go real low throttle and want to do a roll, it can sometimes disarm inadvertently the motors while I'm flipping the quad, and it's not very good at all. You end up crashing. I'm going to go ahead and turn stabilization back on. It's nice now because they have either mixed tilt or just tilt, and since I just use tilt, I'm going to uncomment that. I need to check my values. I believe that I set this up, let's see, I hit like 1320, and then I went max 1720, and then I kept the neutral value. I believe it ended up being 1530. So let's go ahead and that's what it was. It was 1330, 1730, 1530, and I left it at 10. And that seems to work okay for me. I don't use a camera trigger. Flying wing, we're not worried about. We're not worried about the airplane, but they've added all this in additionally, so it looks like you can set it up for an airplane or a helicopter or flying wing for stabilization, which is really nice. RC system setup. I'm not using CPPM, so I don't have to worry about this. They have S-Bus receiver setting and a spectrum satellite. That's really nice. Pro Mini setups if you're using like the different types of boards and putting your own sensors on it. Alternate setup. So I feel like this is only relevant if we're using, which is, let's say, the Multi-Wii Plus and the nunchuck controller. So I'm going to comment that out. Gyro filters, I'm not going to use these, but these help if you have vibrations you can't get rid of. I'm not going to use gyro smoothing. We have optional features. Failsafe is off by default. I'm going to go ahead and enable that. You have like an LED flasher and landing lights and in-flight ACC calibration. There's quite a few things that are nice. You can now do like you can add a dead banner on center stick. Got some new GPS code in here. I'm not using any of it, so I'm not worried about it. I'm not using LCDs, so I'm not worried about that. I'm not doing any type of telemetry. I would like to eventually, but right now I'm not. They got a new buzzer. New buzzer option, and couple that with battery voltage monitoring, so it looks like you can monitor the voltage through the board and then have a buzzer go off for you. There's a power meter, and that's pretty cool. Tuning, let's see. This is the center of the radio. We're going to leave it alone. We're going to leave the default refresh rate for the servos alone. They have IMU filtering now. I'm going to leave this all alone. Diagnostics, ESC calibration. Yeah, I'm not going to do this. So I don't need to worry about it. I don't need to worry about any of that. So I think that's what we're going to use. That's how we're going to set everything up. So let me go ahead and hit File, hit Save. Okay, we are going to flash the Multi-Wii board with Multi-Wii 2.1. This is the FTDI programmer I got from Value Hobby. It's like $6. I have a link in the packet. I also have a link to the drivers and whatnot. So I want to show you how this works. Basically, the pinout on the FTD programmer is the same as what's on the board. So you literally just slide it on and then hook up a mini USB cable. And then we'll plug it in and the board will fire up. Fired up, it's booted. There it goes, it's booted up, it's ready to be have the firmware upgraded or whatever you want to call it. This is also how you would get into the multi-Wii config. So basically we're just going to come over here. Then we need to go ahead and hit tools here. Board that we're using is the Lenovo 18 Mega 328. Serial port is COM7. This board's having a hard time figuring out what it wants to do here. So I got that set. I'm going to hit upload. Go to upload. It's going to start uploading. It's compiling the sketch, and then when it starts uploading, the LED on the FTDI will start going crazy. There it goes right there. See it? It's reading and writing as we speak, uploading 2.1 to the board. And there it is. It's finished. So now I will show you the Wii config and what we need to do to make the board